sketchy, Al. So, the state of Alabama gets its fair share of tornadoes. I was hoping I wouldn't have to deal with any of them when I temporarily lived there, but I ended up having a good scare from the threat of one after all. Oi. Before I share what happened, there's a small mini-tale I like to bring up first that does tie into the overall story. So, there used to be a commercial playing for a sleep aid that happened to be showing around the same time frame. In the advertisement, they had a green Luna moth for a mascot that ended up landing on people's shoulders, causing them to finally fall asleep for the night. I guess. They never really showed anybody waking up the next day, so the way I saw that ad, it was actually the moth of death. And when it came in contact with that person, they were actually falling asleep, never to wake again. Anyways, back to the main story. At one point, I was working at a residential neighborhood/golf course combo that was randomly located in the middle of nowhere, which was about 40 miles away from the nearest town. My job was being a gatekeeper for incoming cars. The post building was mostly made of metal beams and big glass windows. Another part of the job was to take a golf cart and drive it up to the main clubhouse to lock it up for the night. There was also a cat named Honey that hung around, and we, the staff, provided water and food for her there. Someone actually gave her some fried chicken, even though she actually rejected it and went for a fresh rabbit instead. Too fresh. Ugh. Anyways, moving on. One night, I was watching TV when a tornado warning was issued that a storm cell was heading towards the area I was working at. The warning sirens went off, it started to rain and lightning, and the winds were blowing something fierce. The very same winds that was blowing the threatening storm cloud my way. Gulp. So due to taking the warning very seriously, I grabbed the cat and went to the golf cart to head towards the storm shelter at the clubhouse to wait out the possible tornado. But right before I left, I saw a big, green Luna moth hanging out by the wall by the separate outdoor storage room. Oh, great. It's the night butterfly of death, warning me that I'm gonna die tonight, never to see the dawn of light the next morning, just like in that commercial. Thanks. I hate it. I still went in the cart, driving one-handed, while struggling with a freaked-out cat in my arm, with cloud-to-ground lightning striking all around. The cat wasn't the only one freaking out, while I was struggling to make it to safety in the middle of the night. With my raw nerves being wrecked by this new threat I was not prepared for at all. Twisters are not really an issue where I came from. Usually. So I was able to reach to the designated storm shelter, to which was a large parking garage under the clubhouse for all the golf carts, to where I was waiting out the storm, alone, with a very upset tabby cat. Turns out, nobody else in the neighborhood took the threat very seriously. I guess they are just used to that sort of thing all the time, since nobody showed up, while this was my first experience ever dealing with it. After some time has passed, I went up to the clubhouse and checked the news on the TV there, and it turns out that the threatening storm cloud came and went without any kind of tornado touching down. Oi. I looked outside for any damage, and the most I found was just a trash can that got knocked over by strong winds. So luckily, my prediction from the death butterfly was not true, and that was as close to a tornado scare I've ever come across on my end. My chi, however, had a closer call than I did. Here, honey, you tell this part of the story.
Well, down in Alabama. So when we were living in Alabama, we decided to move from Montgomery, Alabama, up to Huntsville, and we needed to get a truck to move all of our stuff. So the nearest truck rental place was about maybe 10 miles outside of town. So as we started driving from the house out to the rental place, we started seeing heavier and heavier rain. The rain started getting heavier, and we started hearing hail hitting our car, and then the hail got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then we started hearing the tornado sirens going off. It was suggested by my friend's girlfriend that we should go to the Walmart to pass the time while the tornado went by. Well, it turned out that that tornado came through the area, and the only place in the entire area that it hit was that exact Walmart that she was suggesting we go to. taking out part of the garden center and the local apartments.
Yeah, we learn not to go with her suggestions when it comes to taking shelter from a threatening twister.
In fact, a couple months later, we actually heard about a tornado that actually hit a mall parking lot, and it was the exact mall that she had suggested we go hang out at to pass the tornado.
Timing! LOL. So, that was our personal close call when it came to the experience with tornadoes living there. A few years later, and there was an EF5-sized tornado that was only 9 miles away from the couple's house, where the whole family was located at when the storm hit. Now that was too close for comfort in my book. Brrr. So, that's the story when it came to tornadoes. Glad I don't have to deal with them where I live now. Funny enough, I used to be terrified of lightning, but after dealing with tornado threats, lightning has become less severe to me to be afraid of these days. Lols. So, if you happen to liking my storytime vid, then please subscribe for more crazy close calls with natural disasters, such as earthquakes, and the ocean trying to kill me twice. Anyways, thanks for checking out my tale today. Hope to catch you around next time. Ciao!